There's 2 reasons why I need you to really focus today. 3. I'll give you 3 good reasons. Number 1, if you're not focusing, I pick on you. I'm gonna ask you questions. I'm gonna pick you out of the audience or make you come up front with me, okay? Number two, we need your help after this is all said and done. So we're gonna ask for your help. The only way you can help us is if you paid attention to this. And number 3, do you guys like money? Yeah? All right. Number 3, we have a giveaway where we give away a ton of money every year. And the only way you could possibly win any money from this is if you pay attention, okay? So, our program is called Don't Meth With Us. Today we're going to be talking to you about meth. Who here knows what meth is? All right. That's a pretty decent amount of you. Yes, ma'am, in the usher. Yes? What's meth?
Meth is a drug that can really mess you up.
It's a drug that can really mess you up. Awesome. So, we had a good amount of people here raise their hands. We knew what it was. At the end of this, what we're going to do is we're going to all be experts on meth, okay? On this one drug, we're going to know everything about it, and we're going to be able to teach other people about it. That's how we really learn things, right? That's a really good way to learn things, is to be able to teach it to other people. So, meth is the most addictive drug ever invented. Who here knows what an addiction is? Yes, ma'am?
An addiction is something like, so, say I am playing my phone, and my dad's like, hey, go wash the dishes. And I'm like, no, I don't want it. I don't want to get off my phone because I'm addicted to it.
Right? So it's maybe something you don't, like you can't stop doing, right? That's what you're saying? Right? So that's what an addiction is. We're going to explain how addiction feels really quick, okay? So that I can explain to you. Let's imagine for a moment that you woke up in the morning. What's something you crave in the morning?
Chocolate.
Just yell it out.
Breakfast.
Breakfast. All right, I heard breakfast. So that's me. First thing in the morning, breakfast or coffee. You know, coffee's probably number 1 for an adult. Kids don't try coffee. Number 2, breakfast. So let's imagine that we don't have breakfast. Okay? First half of the school day, what's on our mind? What are we thinking about? Breakfast. We're thinking about food, right? That's because our body needs food. Our body has a craving for food, right? So let's say we don't have breakfast and we don't have lunch. Second half of the school day, do you think you're going to be able to focus at school? No. All you're thinking about is breakfast. What if you skip breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
I would be dead.
You'd be dead? You think the only thing you'd be able to think about in the evening would be food. That's it, right? So our body craves food. It's a physical addiction of a type. Our body craves it. So an addiction is something that our body or our mind needs. And when you're really addicted to a drug, it's all you can think about, just like if you went without eating for a long time. So we have a statistic, and this is why we say it's the most dangerous drug ever addictive drug ever invented, okay? We have this statistic. Almost 9 out of 10 meth addicts relapse after receiving rehabilitation. All right, so this is a deep statistic, right? Let's all stand up for a second. Right where you are, don't move around because we've got cameras everywhere, okay? All right, here's what we want to do. We're going to pretend that all of us got addicted to meth. I'm sorry, you're all meth addicts. But here's the good news. All of us want to quit. So we go to a place called rehab or rehabilitation. Rehabilitation or rehab is a place where you go to get off of drugs or alcohol or other addictions, and a place where they kind of help you with your problem, okay? Now, we all wanted to quit. We're all meth addicts, we all wanted to quit, right? I want everybody from here over to sit down. How about here over? Just you guys. Right here, this line.
This one right here.
Just this line over here? Yep, sit down. Sit down? All right. Everybody went through rehab. We all trying to quit meth. These people relapsed, meaning they went back to using afterwards. Yep. You guys are the only ones that quit. That's how addictive it is. Do you guys see that? 9 out of 10 meth addicts, when they go to rehab, they end up relapsing. Go ahead and sit down, guys. You're all cured now. Do you Do you guys like science?
Yeah!
Me too. So I'm a science geek. I'm going to explain the science of how addiction works to you. Have you ever heard of dopamine?
No!
So dopamine is a chemical in our brain. Our brain produces a lot of natural drugs that make us feel really good. Dopamine, oxytocin.
Melatonin.
Melatonin is one that helps us sleep. That's a natural drug that our brain produces. Oxytocin, if you get a nice big hug. You ever feel that? When you get a nice long hug, that's oxytocin. Dopamine is a good feeling chemical that our body releases naturally. So we're gonna release it real quick. You guys want a dopamine hit?
Yeah.
All right, here it is. Ready? So I want you to use your imaginations. It's Christmas morning. You wake up and there's a ton of presents under the Christmas tree. Do you feel that? Did you guys get a tingle? I got a tingle. How about this? How about this? It's a really hot summer day and Mom comes out with ice cream.
Oh!
Ooh, ice cream? No? That's not your thing? How about cake? No? Oh man, that was a good one for me. But there's who here plays soccer? All right, it's a playoff game, championship game. It's tied. It's the last minute of the game. You're running for the goal. You kick, you score, and you win the game for your whole team.
It's that just in football.
Yeah, football. Do you feel it though? So that's dopamine, right? How about this, guys? Do you play video games?
Yeah.
Video games? Yeah? All right. Let's say we're on a really hard video game, and you cannot beat this level, and you finally beat it. Right? Yeah. All right, dopamine. So you guys, that feeling right there, that feeling is called dopamine. So I'm going to be really honest with you here, okay? You guys are big kids, right? You're about to go to an even bigger school. You're in 5th grade. Where do you go for 6th grade? Middle school. All right. So you're about to go to middle school. You guys are big kids, but you're going to be the small kids at the new school, just so you know. It's unfortunate. But check this out. I'm going to talk to you like big kids. Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
The reason people take drugs is because they feel good. Okay? The reason people take drugs is because they feel good. So when they take methamphetamine, they get a large release of dopamine. All right? So they get a lot of dopamine. It feels really good. But the problem is there's two things. There's the thing that produces dopamine, and there's receptors that receive dopamine. And you can burn both of those out. So when they take this drug, and it gives them a huge release of dopamine, the receptors get burnt out, and the release gets burnt out. So we stop creating that dopamine, that chemical that makes us feel good. So guess what? It doesn't feel good anymore. Ice cream on a hot afternoon. Guess what doesn't feel good anymore?
My ice cream melted.
Christmas presents.
I got food.
Sports aren't fun anymore. Video games, boring. The only thing that creates this dopamine release for you at this point is going to be the drug. And that's how people become addicted to the drug, because it's the only thing that starts to feel good. So it becomes the main focus of your life, hence addiction. Remember, it's all they can think about. Remember when we were talking about food, right? So anybody here want to be a doctor when they grow up? Okay, doctor's a tough one. Did you know that? Okay, it's a really hard career to go for. We usually have a couple of doctors sitting in here with us, but not today. You have to go 7 years or more of school, plus specializing, plus you do after-school residency at a hospital typically. It's very difficult to get into this career. Plus you have to graduate high school pretty much with flying colors so you get into a good college. So let's talk about some small good choices. I'm not talking about drugs here. Small good choices that we can take to get towards our goal. There's our goal of being a doctor. Yes, sir?
Maybe taking college lessons?
Taking college classes? Oh, yeah. How about smaller? How about reading? Yeah, reading? How about, what's another one? Yes, ma'am.
Tutoring?
What's that?
Tutoring?
Tutoring? That's a great one, yeah. What's a good choice?
Going to school?
Going to school? Yeah, not skipping school, not going to school. Yeah, go ahead.
Science?
Science, yeah?
Taking small classes in high school.
Yeah?
And
Those are all good choices. How about eating well?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, that's good for you. Exercise.
Yeah.
Getting enough sleep. Those are good choices. What are some bad choices that would take me away from that? Small bad choices. We're not diving into drugs yet. Okay, yes, ma'am.
A bad choice would be like taking an overdose of it.
Well, yeah, but we're talking smaller bad choices. Like, how about this one? Skipping school.
Not doing homework.
Not doing your homework. That's a small bad choice that would get you further away from that goal, right? How about you?
Not taking your classes?
Not taking any classes? Not going to school? How about a different one? You got it. Not eating healthy. Not getting enough sleep, right? Not reading. These are bad choices. They're little bad choices, but they keep us away from our goal. The reason we're talking about choices is we talk about meth, and we want to mention that meth is not just a bad choice, it's a train wreck. It completely ruins your life. And we're going to explain more about it ruining your life further in these slides, but a train wreck. How do you avoid getting hit by a train? Yes, sir.
You avoid by not getting hit by a train by watching where you're going.
Watching where you're going? What do you have to stay off of, though?
The railroad.
The railroad tracks. Right? I guarantee, if you're sitting here in this room, right here, you're never going to get hit by a train.
Yeah.
Right? But if you're playing on a railroad tracks, there's a chance. So you guys know what a metaphor is? Who knows what a metaphor is? Good. We have good teachers here. All right. So a metaphor, we use an example that isn't exactly, what we're talking about. So we're calling that the train wreck. We're calling playing on the train tracks using alcohol, marijuana, and other people's pills. The reason we put fentanyl on here, have you guys heard of fentanyl yet?
No.
We don't want to get too sidetracked here with something else, but fentanyl is a dangerous drug that's been imported into the United States recently, and typically can be found in pills or other forms of stuff that people take recreationally, and then they die. Hundreds of thousands of Americans are dying each year from fentanyl use, just like that. Boom. And we have fentanyl overdoses in the dozens here in San Juan County in the high schools right now, guys. So what they're doing, though, is they're messing with other people's pills. So when I say other people's pills, I mean pills that aren't prescribed to you by a doctor, right? You're okay to take your own pills if a doctor prescribes them, correct? Or if your mom gives you some medication for a headache or something like that, or a tummy ache or something, right? But taking other people's pills or using alcohol or marijuana, why alcohol, marijuana, and pills, though? Why am I bringing these up? What's the thing that's similar about those three things in New Mexico? Yes, sir?
Everyone takes them?
No. A bunch of people do. How about this? They're legal. So if you're over 21, alcohol and marijuana, you can go to the store here in New Mexico and purchase them. Other people's pills, I can go to a doctor and they can prescribe them to me and I can take them. I can take my own pills. So these things are legal things. What we're talking about is, do you guys know what inhibitions are? This is a rough one. All right, so I'm going to explain to you what an inhibition is. Have you ever seen the cartoon with the devil and the angel on the shoulder?
Yeah.
Right? The devil's always like, oh, go do this, go do that. Inhibitions are the angel on the shoulder, okay? Inhibitions are the little angel that's like, hey, I don't think that's a good idea. Or, you're a good person, maybe you shouldn't be doing that, right? That's inhibitions. Now what happens is when people mess with these things, alcohol, marijuana, other people's pills, played on those train tracks, they're at a party in high school or in college or something like that, right? The inhibitions get real quiet. The devil does that. In the cartoons you see him, the devil walk up and flick the angel off of the shoulder and then it's just the devil up there, right? That's what happens sometimes and your inhibitions get lowered. So when people mess with alcohol, marijuana, and pills, these things can be, they in themselves can be very, very dangerous and can kill you, but they're commonly used. When people mess with these things, though, the inhibitions go away and they end up being willing to do things that they wouldn't typically do. Yes, sir?
Do you know that if you drink alcohol or maybe smoke for a really long time, your body actually needs it, and if you just stop just like that, you can actually die?
You can. Alcohol is one of the only drugs that getting off of it when you're very, very addicted to alcohol can actually kill you. It's a really good point. So we're going to talk about some of the things that meth is made of. Sometimes, do you guys know what the cartel is?
No.
Yeah? Okay, so the cartel is a very dangerous organization. We're going to go with an organized crime or a gang, very large. There's multiple cartels, but we're just going to say the cartel, right? So a lot of modern meth is made in large labs by the cartel and either imported into the United States or made in the United States in large labs. But meth can also be made in smaller makeshift labs. You know what a lab is, right? It's where they mix chemicals, basically. some of the stuff that goes into meth, cold pills, acetone, these aren't always in meth, so I'm not giving you the recipe. Don't go home and tell your parents, hey, this guy Allen gave us the recipe for meth today, Dad.
Oh, that's your name?
So, oh yeah, I'm sorry, my name's Allen. How are you guys?
Hi.
So, these things are on your card as well, so the card that you got. But don't go home and tell Mom and Dad, hey, Allen gave us the recipe for meth. That's not what's going on here. These are some of the things. What's that? Yeah, some awful stuff. Red phosphorus. You know what red phosphorus is? It's the stuff on the tip of matches that ignites on fire. Yeah, and that's a really commonly used ingredient. So is iodine. Iodine is the stuff. It's this red stuff that they used to use when I was a kid. When you get scraped up, they'd use it on your scrape and it burns.
Yeah, I still remember that.
You still remember that? What's that?
What's camera battery acid?
Camera battery acid, just a type of acid that comes out of a battery. Interesting, right? All right, guys. So, I need 2 volunteers. But before you raise your hands, it's very specific volunteering. So wait. Number 1, I need somebody who can speak like me and can read very well.
I can't.
Read very well and can speak like me. Let's see. Everybody point to somebody who's got their hands up. Yeah? Okay, you. Go for it. Yep, you. All right. I need somebody who's very brave. Who is super, super brave? All right, let's see. Yeah? Well, hold on. We're going to do a boy. This one. Yeah, come here, bud. Good. All right. What are your names? Fabian? Lily. Nice to meet you, Fabian and Lily. Okay, so because we're recording, we're going to need you to speak very, very clearly. We're going to do a little bit of theater for your friends. You like theater? A little bit? Okay, so my brave man, I brought in some chemicals here. We mixed some meth up with. Let's pull one of these out and we'll have her read about it.
Stop! All this stuff that he mentioned is dangerous. It's even bad to even touch it. Okay, my name is Lori, and I'm with the PPE. Does anybody know what PPE stands for? Personal protection.
Personal
Equipment.
protective equipment, huh?
Yes. So, Fabian here, before he touches any of this stuff, needs some things to keep him safe. What do you think might help keep him safe? Yes.
A mask?
A mask.
Oh, good thing I brought this handy dandy brand new mask for you, bud. There you go.
All right, what else? Yes, in the black shirt.
Gloves?
Gloves. That's a good one.
Oh, good thing I brought these very stiff gloves. There you go. Gotta make sure your whole arm is protected, huh?
No. Okay, one last one. Yes, ma'am. Goggles.
Oh,
Yes,
good
keep
thing.
your eyes safe.
What do you think? Is he safe now, guys? Okay. Yeah, he's totally safe. All right. So we're going to pull one of these out of here, and you're going to hold it up so that she can read it. Ready? Just grab one of these items. There you are. That's a good one. Hold it up so she can read this front part. What is that called? The black part.
Muriatic acid.
Yep, muriatic acid. Read this part right here.
Danger, poison. Causes severe burns, vapor, harmful, may be fatal.
What's fatal? What's this symbol? It's a skull and crossbones.
Oh!
Y'all, do you think that that's for pirates? No? All right. Let's try another one. What's next?
Maybe no feasting.
There you go. All right. What does this say?
Break fluid.
Caution.
Caution. Eye irritation, harmful if swallowed. Read precautions on back panel.
There we go. Harmful if swallowed.
Don't drink it.
Would you guys give that to your dogs?
No!
right, let's try this one maybe. Let's try one more.
What?
All right, what do we have here?
Mineral spirit.
Mineral spirits. Can you read the danger down here?
Harmful or fatal if swallowed.
Harmful or fatal if swallowed. Fatal. Don't touch that,
What does
guys.
that do to my spirit?
Guys, this is theater. These are empty. They're all washed out, so we wouldn't bring these.
Okay, we can
I'm not
Just so you know.
touching it, sir.
Guys, I want to thank you for your service. Thank you very much. Yeah, they get ice cream.
What?
I'll take these back from you. You need to keep the mask. Did you know that? Thank you, guys. Can we get a round of applause for them? So, oh, here's your ice cream. Get that. So, guys, what did we learn here? We know what addiction is. We know what meth is. Now let's talk about what meth looks like. Well, this is kind of hard to see, but
I've seen the powder.
you've seen the powder. Okay,
I've
so
seen that kind of.
it can be in like a crystal form, right?
I've never seen
It's not always white or clear like this. Sometimes it's a different color. This thing is called a glass pipe. So meth users, they tend to smoke meth typically. That's the number one way that meth users take meth in. So they'll smoke it out of a glass pipe or light bulbs or tin foil. I'm telling you this so that you can recognize it if you see it, right? They can also inject it. They use needles to inject it into their bloodstream. Yeah. They have they also take it up their noses as well. So now let's say you see something and somebody offers you something at a party or you're to get together or something and it doesn't look exactly like what we just showed you. It still could be meth. It could be something. It could be something equally as awful. Okay. So if somebody says, "Hey, try this," at a party or something, and it doesn't look like that, you're not going to be like, "Well, it doesn't look like meth," you know? Give it a shot, right? Physical effects of methamphetamine. So we know meth's made of terrible chemicals, right? We've seen some of the awful chemicals thanks to our brave volunteers. Meth users tend to stay up for days straight. So one of the effects of meth is it gives somebody a whole bunch of energy. So they don't sleep. Have you guys ever stayed up overnight? All night? Yeah. The next day, was your brain a little fuzzy? Pretty much all day? Mine gets fuzzy if I don't get enough sleep. So the next day, so if you don't sleep at all at night, it gets really fuzzy the next day. If you stay up for days in a row, your brain stops working right altogether. I don't know if you guys know this, but dreams are really important.
Why?
It's something about our brain that has to release this information during our sleep. And if we don't, we'll dream visually during the day. So we'll see things. No, like actual seeing things, hallucinations. Yeah. So, they don't eat because one of the reasons we eat, right, is energy. So we already talked about that. Meth gives them energy. Another reason we eat, though, is because dopamine, right? Ice cream makes us feel good, you know? I eat for dopamine a lot, you know? Or boredom, whatever. But they don't eat, so they get really skinny. They don't stay up. They don't take care of their bodies very well. One of the reasons they don't take care of their bodies, if you're up for 3 or 4 days, sometimes you forget, is this morning, is this night? You know, maybe they forget to brush their teeth for a couple of days because they've been up for 4 days straight or, you know, stuff like that, or they're not showering every day. Their mouths dry out because they're not drinking enough water and they've been up for multiple days again. Skin pores release the toxins in their body. So, we have skin pores, right?
Yeah.
They're like little vessels, little holes in your skin. They're tiny, so tiny you really can't see them. But they release chemicals sometimes, and so they get toxins out of our body when we sweat and stuff like that. But what happens is they end up getting these little bumps from their body releasing these chemicals, and then they itch these bumps, and they scratch them and itch them and scratch them until they become what we call a spider bite. They're scabs, right? Or sores. And their mouths dry out, and what is something saliva does for us? Do you know? Yes, sir? It keeps your mouth not dry. So it keeps our mouth clean, too. It kind of keeps the food particles out and washes them down. It also keeps stomach acids down, so it keeps the pH level in our mouths at a regular level, so we're not very acidic. So without saliva, that liquid in your mouth, you're very acidic and dry, and your teeth tend to rot, and you get what's called meth mouth. So you have, can you guys see this?
Barely.
Barely?
I wish I didn't.
Can I adjust the lights? Is that okay?
I don't like it. It's scary. I wish I didn't see it.
I know it's rough. Okay, so we're going to talk about spider bites first. These aren't actual spider bites, right? This was a sore from the pore, and it had a little bump, and he just kept picking that little bump until it became this bigger scab. Eventually, that's going to become a scar. Scars are permanent, right? So they get them on their face sometimes too. They get them all over their body. Scars on their face, scarred faces. And then meth mouth, this is a permanent effect as well. Those are adult teeth. You only get one set of adult teeth. So we know meth addicts that have lost all of their teeth before their 30s. Typically, your teeth are meant to last you your entire life, or at least until you're elderly, right? Elderly people, quite often, they end up getting dentures, right? Well, we know people that are in their 30s who have dentures, and they have to wear dentures the rest of their lives. Can you imagine, right? Well, they eat with the dentures. Dentures are teeth. You guys know what mugshots are?
No.
Okay, so mugshots are a picture of you that's taken when you go to jail. So he went to jail, and then 3 months later was arrested again. 3 months! He's lost weight. His skin is more wrinkly. Look at all those scabs on his face. We call them those spider bites, right? Those are from just picking and picking and picking a little bump, right? He's lost weight. He doesn't look very happy, does he, guys?
He looks like, oh no, what did I do wrong?
He does. How about this lady?
No.
Does she even look the same from the left mugshot to the right mugshot? She doesn't, does she? So this woman is the same woman, there to there. She doesn't look the same.
She does look like she's
She's been picking her face, huh? She's lost weight, her skin is sagging. She does not look healthy, does she, guys?
No.
Now, we're not showing you these to make fun of these people, okay? Let's be clear. We shouldn't, if anything, we should feel sorry for these people, right?
We do.
We do, right? Totally.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at another one. This is the same lady. 8 years on meth.
I've seen this.
This is her getting arrested. Now, does she look the same? Does it look like the same person from the top left photo to the bottom right photo?
No.
It doesn't. It's really sad. She's lost a lot of weight. Her cheeks are sunken. Why do you think her cheeks started to sink in around here? Yes? Go ahead. Yes?
Because she lost her teeth.
She lost her teeth. That's a good
And
one.
your
Yeah.
teeth, they like the cheeks out.
They kind of hold our cheeks out a little bit. So when we lose our teeth, if we don't have dentures, our cheeks kind of sink in a little bit, right? So, it's kind of sad, isn't it, guys?
Yeah. The second last photo is scary.
Isn't it scary? I feel so sorry for her. So we know what it does to our body, right? And this should actually, the last bullet point on this one, the effects on your life, I should move it over to the body one, because another thing meth can do to your body is you can have seizures. You know what seizing is, or having a seizure, right?
Yeah.
We know some people with epilepsy or paranoia. So strokes are when a blood vessel pops in your brain. You can die from it. Hallucinations, we were talking about that. If you stay up for a long period of time, your brain stops working correctly. Some of these effects are permanent heart issues. You can have a heart attack from an overdose on methamphetamine, or you can have permanent heart issues from using meth your entire life, right? Or for a prolonged period of time. And paranoia. Paranoia is a hallucination, essentially. It's the same thing as a hallucination, but instead of seeing things or hearing things, you think things are happening that aren't actually happening. Like, there's somebody out in that bush watching me, man. I swear there's people out in that bush watching us, man. That's paranoia. We end up believing something that's not exactly
You
true.
get really you're like,
And it creates fear.
you get like paranoid. You're like,
Paranoid. Exactly. That's where the word comes from. So those things, some of these effects can be permanent too. So we were talking about the spider bites, the meth mouth, those are permanent effects. These can be permanent too. And so can death. Death can be permanent as well. So let's talk about how it affects your life though. Meth addicts tend to drop out of school. Why? Yes, ma'am.
They're just super addicted to it. They don't know what they're doing anymore.
They don't know what they're doing anymore? It's the only thing they can think about, remember? We were like,
They don't have sleep. They can't sleep.
they can't sleep. When you're addicted, the only thing you think about is that item, right? Yes, sir? They hallucinate? Yeah, that'd be weird. They can't hold jobs. You guys saw the pictures. Would you want to hire that person?
No.
Okay. You don't want her working at your school, you know? So when they look like that, it's hard to hold a job. But also, how many people here, family works in oil and gas or coal or anything like that? You know what kind of test do they have to take every once in a while for their job? You know, in the back. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
A drug test?
A drug test. So when people operate heavy machinery or do jobs that, you know, you could have an accident and kill somebody, the company who hires you tends to test you every once in a while to make sure you're not on drugs. Okay? They do random drug tests. They do drug tests when they hire you. So obviously, you can't hold a job if you're always on drugs. You can't keep a job, but also, you know, probably pretty awful at your job anyway, right? If you're always just thinking about drugs. So they don't have any money, so they end up stealing. And who do we steal from first?
Your family.
Probably your family, probably your friends, those closest to you. So your family and friends, they don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. They push you away, they kick you out. They don't want you around anymore. So your family disowns you, they don't want you around. Your friends, they won't want to be friends with you anymore. Why would a friend want to be friends with a meth addict? You know? They wouldn't, would they? The answer is they wouldn't, right? But, so they spend all of their money on meth, right? That's the other thing we didn't mention, meth's expensive. So they spend all of their money on it, so it's hard for them to own nice things or even have a place to live. They could end up being homeless, end up losing their cars for it, giving away, selling all their stuff so that they can support their meth addiction. So, threw another image in there for you. Feel sorry for her as well. She looks like she's hurting. As if all the other things we told you about methamphetamine weren't enough. It's also very illegal. Okay? So if you were to get caught with methamphetamine, 1.5 years for simple possession, just a little bit of methamphetamine, they catch you with it. Up to 9 years for trafficking meth, which means moving it from one location to another. 20 years for distribution, first count. 20 years for distribution you can get for selling meth. That's what distribution is. And a lot of meth addicts sell meth to support their own habit. Okay? Up to 50 years for manufacturing. Over they can add these charges together if you're manufacturing, distributing, trafficking, and in possession of it, and you've got something like over 80 years worth of prison time right there. Do you think prison's a nice place? No? We don't. We make sure that prison's not a nice place. You know, it's not a nice place to go. We want people to not want to go to prison, right? So prison's not nice. 80 years in prison is your entire life. That's it. You don't have a life outside of prison. So imagine spending the rest of your life in prison, right? As if the other reasons I gave you weren't enough. It is also illegal. The whole point of what we're doing here today is so that you can be prepared for when somebody offers you drugs. And I said when, not if. Okay? We want you to be prepared because it's not likely going to be somebody jumping out of the bushes on your way home. Hey kid, try drugs? That's not how this works. There's no incentive for somebody to want to do that. So let me explain to you who it's likely going to be. Maybe a relative. Might be a friend or someone you know. Might be somebody in your dorm at college. Might be somebody you know at a party. You're not going to expect it when it happens, but the point of this entire program is so that you're prepared to say, no, you have that card, right? On the card, there's some blank lines on one side of it. Above that, what does it say? Go for it, sir.
I promised myself when asked to try meth, I will say.
Blank. And then there's a few blank lines. So no is not a powerful enough statement. We want to be prepared. So we're prepared with information, right? We know all about the drug. We're prepared with information. And I'm going to help you get prepared with an answer right now. So who in this classroom wants to grow up to be a social media influencer? You know, like a TikTok influencer or YouTube influencer. There's a couple people in here. Okay, so imagine a social media influencer with rotten teeth and meth sores, right? Can't be a social media influencer if I'm addicted to meth. Okay? How many of you want to be pilots? Pilots, fly airplanes, fly helicopters, that kind of stuff? Yeah? How about in the military? Any of you want to be military? How many of you guys want to be police?
I want to be.
All those jobs require drug tests too. Can you imagine being a meth addict and being one of those?
Oh no.
How about this one? Here's one that requires drug tests. How many of you guys want to be sports stars?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sports stars? All right. How many of you guys want to be teachers? We need them. That's always a good sign when there's some hands that come up, teachers. Sometimes we go to a school and we ask that question and no hands come up. And we're like, oh. But we're good. We need teachers. They're the most important job. Hey, check this out. How many of you guys want to be doctors or nurses? Can you imagine a doctor or a nurse on that?
I can't.
How about veterinarians? Okay.
I want to be.
So maybe use these as your reason when you write it down on the card. When I grow up, I'm not going to use meth because when I grow up, I want to have my teeth or I want to be able to do this. I have dreams of being this. This is my dream, right? How many of you guys want to grow up to be a drug addict?
Oh.
What? Nobody? So that's weird. That's kind of a weird question though, isn't it? Why would I ask that question? I'm going to give you a reason. Hold on. And you don't have to answer this. It's going to be a very personal question. I'm going to raise my hand because the answer is yes. How many of us know somebody who's a drug addict? There you go. I'm sorry, guys. So, we're personally touched by this. We are. They're in our community. How many of you have seen them by the gas station or grocery store, asking for change or in an alley asleep somewhere, you know, something like that, in a park sleeping? Tents. Yeah, guys, it's awful. We have a huge homelessness problem in the United States right now. And if you look back, it's because of drugs. Okay, so I asked this question because let's imagine that those people that we know in our community that are drug addicts, let's imagine they're here in 5th grade. And I asked them, how many of you want to grow up to be drug addicts? Do you think they all raise their hand and be like, yeah, I guess so? No. What did they want to be? Yeah, they wanted to be all these things. They had dreams and ambitions just like you guys do. They wanted to grow up to be something cool, right? They didn't want to grow up to be a drug addict. The people we saw in the pictures today, they didn't want to grow up to look like that, do you think? No. So what happened? Yes, sir?
Maybe someone convinced them to try it and then they just got addicted to it
There
to
you go.
where they can't stop.
How would you get convinced to try it? You've seen this presentation. How would you get convinced today? Is there a way I could convince you to try this today? No, because you're prepared. Because you're prepared, right? Because we know a lot about meth now. We know what it does to our bodies. We know what it does to our lives. We know how addiction works and how addictive meth is. We know all the awful things that are in it, right? So we know all these things. So we're prepared now, right? And we're going to be prepared with an answer. And when somebody offers you drugs, when you're older, when somebody offers you drugs, you're going to say, you know what? I don't want to end up ruining my life for this reason. No, thank you. Okay? And then we're going to go and talk to somebody about it. Okay? And you guys might, sometimes after we give these presentations, sometimes you guys need to talk to somebody afterwards, okay? But talk to a teacher, somebody you trust. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Something wrong with topic. So, my mom has said if someone offers you candy, don't take it because there can actually be meth in candy.
So there can be, and we can talk about that. That's a good question. People don't tend to just give drugs away to people. Like it's not going to be somebody, like we said, jumping out of a bush. When somebody offers you something like meth, it's probably going to be like, no, it'll probably be at a college dorm or at a party or at a high school party or something like that, guys. It's not going to be a scary stranger with candy, probably. Because the reason they do that, there's no reasoning behind it, okay? The people who are addicted to drugs, and are at a party, they just want you to party with them. They want you to be a drug addict too, because they don't want to be the only addict at the party, right? We'll answer some questions in just a minute. We're all about to wrap it up, all right? So, talk to somebody you trust, guys. If you see something like this, if you're aware of something going on in your school or a situation, or you're having a situation at home, talk to a teacher, a principal, school counselor. You guys know you have a counselor. Somebody who's trained to help us talk about our feelings or situations. What's an SRO? Anybody know? Do you know, sir? No? I'll get to you in a second, okay? We'll answer your question in a second. You know?
School resource officer.
School resource officer. That's right. So we have police officers that are specially trained to work with children in our community. If you go to the front office and you tell them, I need to speak with a police officer, they will call the SRO. And the SRO will come to your school if he's not already here, he or she, and they'll talk to you about whatever you need to talk about, okay? Your parents, definitely your parents, that'd be somebody you can trust possibly. Yeah, maybe. I have a kid in 5th grade. I'd hope he'd come to me. Or a friend you can trust, okay? But talk to somebody, don't let it weigh on you guys, and be prepared, right? We're going to be prepared. So, at the beginning of this, we said we had 2 things. We were going to ask you a favor. We need your help. We have about 67 kids in here today, okay? So, let's imagine, so that's 2/3 of 100. Do you guys do math like that? 2/3? Roughly 2/3 of 100, okay. So let's say that each of these 67 kids took this message and presented it to 2 other people. Quick math. How many kids would that be that we would, or people in the community would we cover? Yes, sir, go for it.
Each person did 2 minutes.
Yeah?
So there's around 65 kids.
You're around 67, I was told, yeah. Quick math. So it's 2/3 times 3. Yes?
Isn't it like 124?
Close. It'd be like 200 kids. It'd be like 200 people. So we take this message and we reach 200 people, right? It'd be a lot bigger. And we talk to every 5th grade class every year in San Juan County, pretty much. And we've been doing that for a long time. Some of the people making the films today were in this presentation not so long ago. They're in college now. Do you think they'd be in college and studying film if they were on meth? No. Probably not. So maybe this message helped. I don't know. We could ask them afterwards, do you think the message helped? Were you ever offered drugs? You know, these are good questions, right? So, that's number 1. We call it ambassadorship. So we'd like you to take this message and become ambassadors for Don't Meth With Us. We want you to go home. You've got a card with a website on it, don'tmethwithus.com. You're going to get a t-shirt, you've got a wristband, and you're going to get a pencil, and the pencil also has the website. If you go to the website, this presentation is on the website. And you can show this presentation to your brothers or sisters, your parents. How many of you guys know homeschoolers? We can't reach all these homeschoolers. Maybe you could, with the permission of their parents, spread this message to your homeschool friends so that they're prepared as well, right? We want everybody to be prepared for this so that when this happens, when something like this happens, we're ready to say, no, not interested, buddy, move on, okay? Number 2, we said we liked money, right? Where'd my piece of paper go? Pause. Sorry, guys.
Pause. Right here?
Yeah, thank you. I don't know what I did with my copy. So all of your teachers have a copy of this as well. Guys, I'm sorry. We have an essay contest, but it's not just essays. Okay, you know what an essay is, right?
Yeah.
You can do a report or an essay on this presentation, or a story. You can do a fictional story. Do you guys like writing fiction?
Yeah.
I like writing stories. How about a song? Can you write a song or a rap or something like that? So what we want is something written, okay? We want it to be under 500 words, so not too long, because we get a lot of them that we have to read, okay? So keep it kind of short. Give it to your teacher. You have 2 weeks, okay? Out of this school, we'll choose a couple of winners, and out of those winners, at the end of the school year, they'll go to the national competition, and they'll just be compared to all the other schools, okay? First place gets $175 cash.
Whoa!
You guys like that?
Yeah.
175, and your teacher gets a $75 gift card.
Yay!
Teachers, We have a lot of winners from this school previously, by the way, a ton. These teachers are on it. Second place, $100 cash.
Whoa!
Plus your teacher gets a $50 gift card. Third place, $75
I'll
cash.
take it.
Plus your teacher gets a $50 gift card. Okay? So, just to reiterate, it's a written report. You give it to your teacher. Your teacher has the information on how to get it to us. We would prefer email if possible, teachers. We could come by the school to pick up reports, but prefer if they're emailed. It just makes our lives easier a little bit too. Yeah, be sure to make sure that your name, your school's name, and your teacher's name are on the report, essay, story, song, poem, whatever it is. It's something in writing, okay? All right, guys, you're going to compete?
Yeah.
Thank you. Might as well. It's not that hard. You're going to win? You might as well. It's not that hard. And your odds are actually pretty good at winning. So your odds are pretty good at winning this. Okay, guys? And if you put your heart into it and make it something interesting, that's how you're going to win it. All right? Make it interesting or make it personal. All right? So,
This school won last year.
yep. 2?
2.
That's awesome. 2 students from this school won last year out of all the schools in San Juan County. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Isn't that awesome? All right. So here's what we're going to do. A couple more things. We're going to ask you a couple of questions. I want to make sure that you don't leave here with any questions about meth. This program, your teachers have all the information about it. So if you have any questions about the contest, ask your teacher. Okay? If you have any questions about drugs or meth, let's do a few of those, and then we'll let you get on with your day. Okay? Oh, you two have your hands up for every question. I'm gonna hope these are good questions. Go for it.
So why would people maybe like I've heard of people that actually go out and ask people to go help themselves and go to a rehab.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
There are actual people that will go out there, like businesses that go out there, and if they see people
try to help them.
Yeah.
So those are volunteers, most likely. So the people in this room, these people in the back here too, we're volunteers. The people here doing the recording, these are students and volunteers. So what is a volunteer? Somebody who chooses to do something for free. We're not being paid to do this, right? We're doing it for free. Why am I doing it?
Do you want to tell?
Yeah, I'm going to let you guess. One guess. Yes, ma'am, in the back.
Maybe it's because you want other people to hear this message.
It is. It is. I have a very personal reason. So when I went to college, I didn't say no. I said yes. And I tried it, and I got addicted to it. And I got kicked out of college, and I lost my car, and I was homeless, and I was living on the streets. I have 2 sons. One of them is in your grade. He goes to Ladera, so I'm going to pick on him in a few weeks. But he's in your grade. I have an older son. He's over at Hermosa. I have 2 little boys. But do you think the place I want to live in, this is my home, right? The place I live, my home, I want to see it better, right? So I volunteer to make it a better place. We don't have to be paid to make our homes better, do we? Right? Kind of like how you make your bed, or clean your room, or clean the dishes, or clean your yard up. You do it because it makes you feel good about your home and the place you live. Farmington, San Juan County, this is the place I live. So I try to take care of it, and that's why these other people are here too. They're volunteers, and they care about this community, and they care about the children in this community, and they don't want to see you guys grow up to be these folks. And let's just pretend everybody in this room has received this message in their heart and is not going to grow up to use drugs, right? What if we could spread that message to the entire community? 1 5th grade at a time, 1 5th grade at a time, right? What if we lived in a world where we didn't have drug addicts anymore? Can you imagine? It'd be a lot better, wouldn't it? It'd be a lot nicer. So, any other questions? Yes, sir.
Have you ever thought anybody give a child drugs?
Have I ever caught anybody giving a child drugs? Is that what you're saying? So some of the people that are addicted to drugs started in childhood, and most often they were exposed to it through family members. So yes, we do experience that. Yes, ma'am.
So Is smoking and vaping a drug?
Smoking and vaping is a drug. So nicotine is the drug in vape and in smoke. And nicotine is highly addictive. Very, very, very addictive. It's a natural drug, and it's super addictive, and smoking and vaping is awful for your lungs. Terrible. Anything you put in your body,
That's not okay.
you have to think about this. If you're going to be a sports star, right, you're really concerned about the food you eat, right? Because even the food we eat affects our bodies on a day-to-day basis. If we eat a bunch of junk food, we feel terrible, right? So just the food we eat. But stuff we inhale, we should just be breathing air, honestly, guys. Yes, sir. What's that?
Why was meth invented?
Why was meth invented? So we're not exactly sure. If you look back, there's some history, and you might look this up because it's kind of interesting history. But it's probably invented by a government to keep soldiers awake for long periods of time. And we don't know whether it was invented by the Nazi government or the Japanese during World War II, or the Americans even, because a lot of it was mixed into, it was a drug that it was given to soldiers to keep them awake for long periods of time and not really concerned about war, I suppose. Kind of a sad situation. Yes, sir?
So, when me and Ari go to practice, we can't eat like junk food.
You can't eat junk food, right? Because almost immediately it makes you feel bad, right?
Yeah.
Same. If I eat McDonald's for lunch, I'm out for the rest of the day. I might as well I'll just take a nap.
Be like, no, I'm out, goodbye.
Yeah, but if I eat a healthy lunch, like a good salad, right? That's how stuff affects our body. You guys understand it. I have a question, so I'm going to ask you. Maybe we're missing this one. Why do people sell meth?
To get money.
Yes, sir.
To make money from more meth.
To make money for more meth. Yeah. A lot of people, so let's say the cartel, they're not using it for, to make money to use meth, but the cartel, they have giant houses and helicopters and stuff like that. So they're taking these people and ruining their lives so that they can have a private jet, that kind of stuff. Pretty awful, isn't it? For money, right? And then people lower level dealers typically sell meth so that they can use meth, so they can afford it because they can't keep a job. So you have some really good answers. If you have more questions, I'm here afterwards. Reach out to a teacher or somebody, okay? A counselor if you have some questions or something close to you. Otherwise, let's talk about this afterwards, okay? One last thing I want to do. Can I grab my phone? Because we have a photo release today, and I never get to do this because we don't normally do the photo releases. Can you guys? You want to be on my TikTok?
Yeah.
Okay? All right. You guys are okay with TikTok?
Yeah.
All right, guys. So here's what we're going to do. We've just done the presentation, and you guys have learned everything about methamphetamine, right? So we're going to, on the count of 3, we're going to yell as loud as we can so the entire school hears us. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3. We are the future. Don't meth with us. Right? Okay. So, yeah, you're going to want your headphones off. We're going to make sure I'm not blowing anybody's eardrums. All right. You guys want to stand up to do it?
Yeah, sure.
All right, guys. All right. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. I bet we can do better. We were not coordinated. We are the future. Don't meth with us. And as loud as you can. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
We are the future. Don't meth with us.
Thank you guys. Thank you for paying such good attention. You guys did great. Thank you for helping us with the video. So we're gonna wait. We're gonna exit orderly. We have T-shirts for you to take home. Okay? And we have pencils. Thank you so much. All right, guys, make your decisions.